project. And that's because its main nesting beaches occur next to the LNG construction site and also the 4-kilometre jetty. Now, the flatback turtle nests only in Australia, so it's the one turtle species that's currently missing from Mexico. There's been very little scientific data available until recently on the flatback, and that led to the current IUCN Red List conservation status of data deficient. However, nationally within Australia, the flatback turtle is listed as vulnerable. It is a ministerial requirement of the Gorgon Gas Project to monitor the flatback turtle population to ensure that they're not having an unacceptable impact. They must study population and reproductive characteristics. Now, there's 2 sites for these turtle studies, Barrow Island and also the reference site at Munda Bulangana Station, or Munda for short. Now, here's the location map to show you the 2 sites. It's got Barrow Island off the mainland and then Munda located on the mainland. Now, Munda's located between mining towns, however, it's a world away from the construction and resources industry because Munda is actually a working cattle station. Now, these 2 turtle populations are discrete. Population modelling estimates that there's a mean number of 1,700 nesting females per annum at Barrow Island. Munda's population is slightly larger at 1,900. The number of turtles overnight at each beach range between 0 to 160, and there'll be 2 personnel on each beach monitoring these populations. There's been systematic tagging studies running at Barrow and Munda by Pendle Environmental since 2004. And our tagging includes pit tagging and titanium metal flipper tagging. Now, aside from the Pendle team leader, our turtle tagging teams are staffed entirely by volunteers. Now, volunteers are used for a number of reasons. Firstly, there's a large number of people required. So our programs run for about 2.5 months at each site, requiring about 20 personnel at all times. If we were to pay these people the construction site rates that the rest of the Gorgon project workers get, it would be extremely expensive. Just to give you an idea, Australia's oil and gas salaries are the 2nd highest in the world after Norway, so it would be really costly. And if we did have to pay these rates, we'd probably have to downsize our program. So by using our volunteers, we're able to collect a much larger data set. Using volunteers from the community enables numerous people to directly interact with marine turtles at no financial cost other than their time. So this is quite an unusual program. Most volunteer programs require people to pay for, at the very least, their accommodation, food and transport. So with the flatback turtle tagging program, all these costs are not passed on to the volunteers. Our volunteers also get to experience one of 2 unique locations. So either Barrow Island, where there's a large range of endemic animals, which you don't get to see on the mainland, or they're able to go to Munda Bulangana Station and see a working cattle station, which is something, despite the Australian stereotypes that might exist out there, most people never get to see. So each season we use 72 volunteers. So who are these people? Well, they're all really passionate about marine turtle conservation. However, most of them have never even seen a turtle prior to going tagging. A lot of them are students and environmental professionals. However, we do have people representing all aspects of the community. We've had lawyers, doctors, physios, tradespeople, even Barrow Island workers and their families who have heard about the program and would love to get involved. Our volunteers range in age from 18 to 70, with most people being around their 20s. Most of our volunteers are from Western Australia. However, we do have volunteers each year from interstate and also overseas. Our longest serving volunteer has participated for 6 years now, and she flies over from China. So it's great that we've got this sort of support base of dedicated volunteers. Our positions are highly sought after. Last year we had 274 applications for our 72 spots. Now, our volunteers work for 17 days, undertaking nightly beach patrols. Chevron takes its workers' health and safety very seriously, and its volunteers are no exception. So all the volunteers have to follow Chevron's health and safety protocols. This means prior to going to site, all our volunteers have to do a 2-day Gorgon project induction, which expires each year. 2 volunteers from each tagging group have to do a defensive driving course. They must do this before they're allowed to drive at Munda or Barrow, and they have to take their fellow volunteers to the beach each night. All of our taggers also must pass a medical, a drug and alcohol test and a fitness test. If they fail any of these components, they're not allowed to go tagging. Now, once our volunteers are at site, there's a whole range of health and safety protocols they must follow, the same as every other worker at Barrow Island. So that includes site inductions, attending daily safety meetings and signing on to safety forms such as a job hazard analysis. There's random drug and alcohol testing on Barrow Island, and our volunteers must test negative. And finally, like every other worker on Barrow Island, and this is our Munda taggers included, must wear full safety clothing. So this is high visibility, long sleeve shirts, pants, safety boots and gloves. And this clothing must be worn at all times, no matter how hot or humid it may be, and it gets pretty humid, believe me. So our volunteers can end up looking a bit like this. So this guy's also wearing a fly net, so very stylish. However, we do have an exemption from wearing a hard hat, so it could be worse. Now, over the last 8 years, we've achieved some great results for the community, for conservation and for construction. We've used over 400 volunteers. 30% of these volunteers each season have participated in previous seasons. We term these volunteers re-migrants, and they're really essential for the program to pass on their turtle knowledge. At Barrow Island, our teams consist of 12 volunteers to one team leader, so having experienced volunteers in the group is essential for maintaining good data quality. Our volunteers have also gone on to spread their turtle knowledge, so whether this is just to their family and friends, to their community or to their place of employment, it's getting the word out there about turtle conservation. So we have teachers who go back and they show their students what they've been doing, turtle tagging. We also have people who work for mining companies who go and give presentations to their work colleagues. So it's just great getting the word out there. Over the course of the programs at both sites, we've tagged almost 7,000 individual turtles. Population modelling for the 2010-11 season suggests that we've tagged 87% and 77% of the Barrow and Munda populations respectively. The turtle tagging program, along with other programs from Pendoley, increases the knowledge about the flatback turtles. And finally, Chevron can meet their minister requirements by demonstrating they're not having significant impact on the flatback turtles. So in conclusion, the program is unique as it integrates community participation in marine turtle conservation into a construction setting. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. The tagging program is the largest in the world for this species, and it's only made possible by a commitment from the Pendoley staff, Chevron, and of course our many volunteers. And finally, I'd like to extend an invitation to everyone in the audience that if you'd like to come down under and do your bit of flatback turtle conservation, applications are open online all August 2012. And for extra information, you can go online or speak to me later. Thank you.